trying to find my agenda.
There's one.
Okay, item number 2, citizens' comments regarding proposed budget for fiscal year 2014, 2015. And I'd like to see Angela open up with all the changes that we made from the original proposed budget.
From the original proposed budget or from the budget workshop on Monday?
Well, yeah, that's fine for the budget workshop. yeah.
Okay, we had a budget workshop last Monday, and at that time, the following adjustments were discussed. And, this, proposed budget that's presented to the commissioners today reflects these changes. The dispatcher's reimbursements from various entities is $92,911. The ad valorem taxes for the general fund decreased $107,318. The county, park supplies expenditures, increased by $2,000. JP5 part-time clerk salary and benefits was $23,426. We removed the JP5 relief clerk. That was a savings of $2,913. The indigent care reduced their budget by $50,000. Treasurer's travel increased by $500. The assistant treasurer salary and benefits for 3 months is $7,800. The dispatchers that we're gonna share with the other entities are gonna reimburse us for came up to $95,263. And the sheriff's department, auto purchases was $25,000 that was originally cut, we added back in. But then since then, I was told they would like to transfer that $25,000 from the auto purchases to the sheriff's department salaries and benefits to cover a part-time clerical position. And then, also, there were some salaries and benefit adjustments that need to be done due to rounding in the calculations of our hourly employees. And the total adjustment is $433. There's $355 in salaries and $27 in FICA and $51 in retirement. And those are just rounding adjustments among each department. Our jury fund, Fund 60, our ad valorem tax increased by $7,318. Our expenditures, we adjusted the grand jury bailiff salaries and benefits by $7,318. The ad valorem tax and the road and bridge increased by $100,000. And the expenditures, road and bridge 2, we increased it due to the cuts that was made previously. We reinstated these expenditures. Road and Bridge 2, $25,000. Road and Bridge 3, $50,000. Road and Bridge 4, $25,000. And I believe that's all the adjustments that were made during our budget workshop.
Okay. Any comments from the court? Okay, at this time, anyone in the audience want to talk?
I would like to first begin with, whenever we had the tax rate agenda item, I was restricted to talk about only the tax rate. Why are we at this point adding to the proposed budget when the agenda item strictly states that this is citizens' comments on the proposed budget of 2014, 2015, please?
Sound like a good idea to me. Posted it on the website. We've done everything we can to keep the
But
public aware.
did you amend the agenda? Okay, you're just, okay,
We did.
all I wanna know is that you have all the facts, so that I can present them, to the higher ups, but anyway,
If you find the higher ups, we'll help you with it.
that's good. I will address that, yes, I have several comments.
Can you repeat your first question, because I was lost?
My first question is,
Why did we do what? You just asked why.
why are we adding to the agenda item when it's strictly supposed to be
For today or for last week?
today?
What have we done that's not on the agenda?
We have presented to the court, additional budget adjustments to the proposed.
And these
budget.
adjustments were made in a budget hearing last week, in a publicized budget hearing.
Okay. And I realize that this now, but it was not posted on the web, so I missed that meeting. If I had known, I would have been here. But anyway,
think the only thing we were doing this morning was just reading them off so the public would be aware.
The changes or revisions or whatever was done in a budget workshop that was legally posted last week.
That's fine. Okay, now, most of my comments pertain to the fact that I pulled off the proposed budget on the website, and therefore I have not addressed any of the changes that y'all have presented this morning. But in looking at the proposed budget as it was presented, and you did not make any changes to these comments, is that according to Local Government Code 111.004, there are certain requirements that must be in a proposed budget. I've discussed this to some degree with Ken Pell, and I'm going to reiterate those again today. One of the items in that proposed budget states that the budget must contain a complete financial statement of the county that shows, and the one item is the cash on hand to the credit of each fund of the county government. Does that proposed budget have that? No, it doesn't. It also talks about the funds available from all sources during the ensuing fiscal year. Now, what I'm concerned about in this proposed budget is that you used for 2015 other revenue identical to the 2014 adopted budget. Now, when we turn around and determine what the 2014 revenue was going to be, it was based upon a 2013 projection, and then we projected out that for 2014. So when you come in and use the same numbers again in 2015, you're making a projection on a projection on a projection. And that does not give me any degree of reliability on the numbers. But Ian, those are the comments that I have on that particular statute.
Let me ask you this, Larry. Have you seen the latest sheet that was filed with the county clerk?
No.
I believe it addresses what you're talking about because after our conversations, I visited with Angela and I also visited with Debbie Kirkham, who is the outside auditor, as you know, and she came over and sat down with Angela, and I believe they made all those corrections.
Now, did they submit three new schedules?
Filed the schedules, as I understand, with the clerk, didn't we?
Do you have that with you? What we filed was this sheet that's in our proposed budget with the revised numbers, and then also we filed an attachment with it that showed what the changes were made.
Yeah. I think they corrected what you're talking about.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
We changed the revenue.
Yeah.
All right. Now, my point that I was trying to make on the tax rate, do you understand the importance of those three schedules? Really what I'm asking now. How important, it's merely coming in, and like y'all did, and throw in three schedules that are old data, when you have more current, up-to-date data to work with. And why you didn't do that, I don't know.
If you're referring to the schedules that you had done in the past, I put those in for historical purposes. I did not know they were not up to date or needed to be up to date. I was using it for historical purposes only because you had to put it in your adopted budget. I just made copies so people would know what had been in the previous year. And that's what I thought they were up to date because they were in your adopted budget.
But again, that was a whole year ago.
Well, I realize that now. I did not know that at the time.
But I believe we've corrected those
It was in your
out.
adopted budget. We will before we file this.
Yeah,
We're in the process.
we've corrected those.
Because Debbie also looked at it with me.
Yeah.
Okay, well then I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage. What I would need to do, if I could make any further comments, is be able to see those schedules. Does anybody have a spare one that I can look at?
Those schedules have not been updated. They will be before it's adopted. Are you talking about what the schedules that you?
Pre-scheduled.
Mhm.
So right now, the public still doesn't know what's going on.
I believe they do, because this one here has been updated. This one has been updated,
And then follow with the county clerk.
Yes.
yes.
Is that this?
It was filed last week. That's one you're looking
Okay, can you, give me some information off of that if you don't mind? What is the,
Can I let him look at this?
Yes, absolutely.
Larry, I believe that's gonna be very close to the figures that you gave me that I shared with Angela and the outside auditor.
so really what I'm seeing is the, just this one page, but not the three schedules.
Yes, sir. That is correct.
So, okay, now, what I'm looking at is that on the 2014 contingency reserve balance, y'all reflected 2,561,194. And on the 2015 proposed budget, you show the 2,561,194. What are those numbers now?
If you look at the top page that Mr. Cooper just gave you, it will show you at the bottom. Our audit report beginning contingency fund was $4,216,431. And so the estimated ending contingency fund is $3,976,884.84. And then we need $391,936.25 now to balance the budget. And so then that gives you the ending balance.
So you're saying that 3,585,346 is what you're
Yes, sir.
working with?
Yes, sir.
That would be the estimated ending balance for, at the end of 2015, right?
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then you're gonna show 3,976,885 as the 2014 amended.
Yes, sir. And I've informed the court that that will change after the close of the year. Those are just estimates only.
Okay, you're ending up with 3,585,000, and I'm looking at a projected contingency reserve of 4,324,000.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Larry, and we discussed that with the outside auditor, Debbie Kirkham, and she did not feel comfortable with going ahead and using those figures until they were audited, until we finished this year and audited.
That's whatever you wish on that, I'm just wanting some clarification.
Are those numbers, included in what you said in your previous statement about estimates? The ones you're talking about right now, the 4 compared to the 3.8?
4,324,000.
So are those estimates?
Those are estimates.
So-
And then I consider them to be reasonable estimates.
Well, and
But
Debbie
again,
considered it to be reasonable, but she said that as an outside auditor, she would feel more comfortable if we went ahead and did the audit and then made the budget amendments to reflect those once we knew exactly what they were. I mean, we're in a short term now, the chances something gonna happen that would drastically change them is probably pretty slim, but
Well, that's my exact point.
Yeah,
I mean,
but-
10 months of history
Yeah.
isn't gonna allow you to have much of a change from
Yeah.
what I was projecting.
and there's no doubt that's gonna add to this if it all pans out, but based upon her recommendation, we decided to go ahead and wait until we get audited figures and then make that adjustment.
Okay. Now, let me, did you, on your statement of tax increase, did you change that?
You mean the additional revenue that's gonna be raised this year?
Yes.
projected
So
revenue.
what does that statement say? I don't know, I'm afraid to say something because I don't have the latest.
It's right here. What page is it on, Angela? Are you looking at it real close? I just read it a few minutes ago.
It's on the second page, budget cover page. The 2014-15 budget will raise more total property taxes than last year's budget by $492,213, which is approximately 3.23% increase.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, according to my understanding of the local government code 111.003, you're required to have more information than that.
Well, Larry, it has the information as to what the effective tax rate is calculated, effective maintenance and operations tax rate, the rollback.
That's part of, I'm talking about the tax increase statement. According to the 111.003, the proposed budget that will require raising more revenue from property taxes than in the previous year must contain a cover page with the following statement, and it must be an 18-point or larger title, which of course you do not have.
Did we have it when you was auditor?
What's that?
We're doing the same thing that we done when you was auditor.
I would beg to differ with you. That statement that you have there does not even conform to what I have.
In our budgets that we come out with when you was auditor, you're telling me that we don't use the same format?
This is the 2014 format for the tax increase statement.
This is what he's referring to. It needs to be larger. And the only difference
So
is,
that's up here?
yes, sir, it needs to be larger. And the only difference is he put another statement that said the new property added to the tax roll. The amount of the new property added to the tax roll is X
Here,
amount of
there it is.
dollars, yes. So
There
it
it
needs
is.
to be
Okay.
larger.
And it is stated clearly in the local government code that this budget will raise more total property taxes than last year's budget by the dollar amount and the amount of the increase, percentage increase, and the amount, excuse me, let me start back. This budget will raise more total property taxes than last year's budget by $490-something thousand you mentioned, which is an amount, dollar amount of increase, and the percentage increase that you did. So then I think you just stop there.
Larry,
It says,
what you're talking about is that page right there on the budget.
just that tax increase
Yes,
statement.
I understand. I did not bring the work copy that we used that we filed with the county clerk and that we used for the public budget hearing last year. I do not remember it being this. This is post-budget approval, right?
Right.
This is a formalized that you put together after the budget has
Do
been
you have a
approved.
copy of the proposed budget? But,
But I think that when Angela when she fixes this up, after we finish today, we approve the budget, we approve the tax rate, then I think hers will look just exactly like this one here.
it's supposed to, but
Yeah.
it's supposed to have been presented in the proposed budget as well.
Well, it's my understanding, though, you file a proposed budget and you can make adjustments until we adopt the final budget, is my understanding.
As long as you have public hearings and you address that amendment and file it with the county clerk. But I don't think those were filed with the county clerk. That is there for the purpose of allowing the public access to the information.
I think we all agree with that, Larry. I think we all agree with that.
Now, basically my last comment has to do with, let me get to my notes. I noticed you made some changes that I'm not, although I was privy to them, was not aware of them. But in the, proposed budget, the road and bridge took a $500,000 drop in materials. And I know that you've added some back into your budget. But if you, not considering that at this point, if I took the 500,000 materials, and there was a 79,000 drop in utilities in the building maintenance, and then the sheriff's department auto purchase of 125,000, and then a contingency reserve decrease of 271,000. Basically, when you look at all this, you're almost right back to $1 million shortfall. And all I see that you've done is that you have reduced the road and bridge to soften the impact. But I also know that through a conversation with Ken Pelt, that there is some grant money going to help. Am I correct in that? In the road and bridge roads, repairs,
It's gonna help 2 precincts, yeah.
2 precincts. Now, it would appear to me that to inform the public the way I think you should, that money should be reflected in the road and bridge.
Well, let me tell you something about that road grant, Larry. Every public hearing that we needed to have has been had. All the communication that we need to have has already been had. There's certain stipulations on where you can use that money and how you can use that money. All of that's been followed according to the letter of the law. That has nothing to do with this budget. That is a separate matter. It's an energy reinvestment and transportation zone that we created, that we could apply for the grant through TxDOT. It does not reflect in this budget. It's not a matter of we get the grant money, therefore we can soften the blow, because these cuts in our materials budget really impact us in a great way. Because at any moment, the legislature could either come back and do away with that grant money and or not approve that grant money based on the decision of Austin, not Kuntz.
And I
Okay.
understand that.
Okay, well, with that understanding, then you're irrelevant to this budget. And I'm sorry to address you that way, but you are, you're going someplace that is not on this budget. And if you'll stay with the budget, I can track with you. But to say that somehow by not bringing the CERTS money into the proposed budget hearings is irrelevant, sir. All of those hearings have happened according to the letter of the law. All the postings, all the hearings have been set. Now, if you'd like to address the 2014 budget, 15 budget, then do it. But the search is irrelevant to that budget.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. I won't.
But, and one illustration is that the 3 years that I served with you on this court, you never brought any other grant into the proposed budget meetings. In other words, all the grants that Hardin County receives, you never once brought those in. And so now all of a sudden you're wanting a caveat of road and bridge to bring those grants in.
Again, since you brought that up, I would disagree with that statement. If you will recall, last year, in 2013, the judge had a building energy efficiency grant for $100 and some odd thousand. We came in and amended the budget in the building maintenance, reflected that revenue, and reflected the expenditure. So I disagree with that statement.
Again, it's not apples to apples.
Again, I'm not gonna get into an argument.
Well, I'd appreciate that. I'd appreciate you not getting an argument with the court.
Does any other public have any comments?
Yeah, we got anybody else that has a comment?
You have anything else, Larry?
In these budget adjustments, was there anything addressing let me see.
Before we adjourn, I need to say something.
Let me get a
While you're getting that, Larry, I'd like to address an issue that came up last week on our budget workshop in regards to the clerk at JP5's office. I disagreed with that. I still disagree with it, but the way I approached that, I owe Missy Minton an apology and Commissioner Franklin an apology, and I'd like to do that at this time. Thank you. That's all I had to do.
Takes a pretty good
Okay,
minute to get a mistake.
Okay, on the county judge's budget, the administrative assistant. We have here that it is, the salary is to be an hourly rate of $15.44. Has that been adjusted?
Yes.
Is that in your adjustments?
Commissioner's Court.
What was he asking?
They approved it in Commissioner's Court for the raise, and then the back of this, proposed budget for today reflects the $60.40, I believe, is what it is.
What's that?
Are you referring to the back pages of the proposed
salaries.
budgets?
Yeah, what has that salary been adjusted to?
It was $16.40 is what was approved in Commissioner's Court, and then the raise was 3% for next year. Is that what you're referring to? And it does reflect in the budget.
Okay, and so she's getting how much of an increase?
No, there's no increase. She's been allowed to keep her salary that she had in the county attorney's office. And she's able to transfer into the judge's office at the same salary. We did not reduce her salary to come into the judge's office.
And why is that allowed? I mean, why are you allowing that when?
We didn't feel the need to reduce her salary for her taking a new position with somewhat greater responsibility than what she had.
But if anybody else takes on additional responsibility in the department, they are denied that.
Well, it's on a case-by-case basis, Larry, and I know you still have sour grapes over things that were done in the past, even before I got on the court. And all I can do is apologize for your sour grapes, but I wasn't here.
I really think we need to move on in the budget hearing, see if the public has any comments.
Anybody else? Got anything to say? Anything off the court? We got a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We stand adjourned.